Content. Content is a king. Content is everything. My guest today is a content creator. He's not only a content creator, he's a photographer, a videographer, and he's also teaching people how to do the same. So if you're a business owner and you're trying to create some great content and you don't try to break your bank, is the guy that you want to talk to you. I'm happy to have Milton to the show today. I'm going to bring him on screen and he's going to introduce himself. Hello.
Hey, Katie, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm extremely well. I cannot complain at all. Living the dream.
It has been a long time.
It has. How are you doing?
I can't complain. I had a long day, but I'm glad I'm here.
Nice, nice.
I'm glad to have you today. So I'm just going to give you some few housekeeping.
Okay,
So I'm going to speak in French time to time, just because we have people watching in French.
okay,
And I'm going to send you the link later on that you can share on your page and invite people to come and
sure,
watch us. If you have any
sure.
question, you're more than welcome to let me know what you want to talk. But time to time, I will just speak in French just to let them know what is going on, and I will come back to you. But if you speak
Cool.
French, because I know that you travel a lot, you can you can speak French
I
too.
don't. I don't. I'm sorry.
You just came back from Africa. You were there, so I'm sure. I know you were in South Africa, but
Well, Africa, the entire continent, as you well know, allows you to be able to explore all the languages around the continent, right? So depending on where you were, in my particular case, I was in South Africa for most of the time, and then I went to West Africa, which is in Ghana. So I kind of maybe bypassed or went around the the French speaking countries. But I'm looking forward to going to some of the French speaking countries to learn.
okay. I'm glad to. So let me send you the link first,
Sure,
and I'll give you the opportunity to introduce yourself, to tell everyone who you are, what you do, and how you can help us today.
absolutely. Was that a
Okay. So
question, or you were going to do something else?
now I'm just sending you the link.
Oh, okay.
Did you get the link of the show?
Yep, I have it.
Okay. So
Mhm.
I'll give you a few seconds to share it with your
Yep,
audience.
forwarding it out right now as we speak.
That's fine. Whenever you're ready, just let me know. I'm so glad to talk to you today. So I'll be right back. While you're sharing the link, I'm just going to speak a little bit. So
Okay.
encore, je suis Cadie Maranga. Aujourd'hui, j'ai l'opportunité de parler avec un ami à moi. Son nom, c'est Milton Lawrence. Il est américain, donc le show serait déjà en français, non, en anglais, juste parce qu'il parle anglais. Il est un content creator et il fait de la photographie, de la vidéographie et il enseigne les gens comment faire ça sur vous-même et aussi teach people comment créer les contents pour votre page. Donc, si vous êtes business owner et que vous voulez apprendre comment faire je ne sais pas comment dire content en français, mais je pense, je ne sais pas, quelqu'un va me dire. Je vais revenir vous dire. Si vous avez une question, juste laissez ça dans la barre d'informations et j'aurai l'occasion de revenir et de vous parler de ça. Donc, Milton, you ready?
I am.
Okay. So I will just letting them know who you are and what you do. And if they have questions, they can always, send it to me and I will ask to you.
Absolutely.
So
Let's do it.
again, introduce yourself. Tell the people who you are, what you do.
So, first of all, I want to say thank you for bringing me onto the show. It is an honor and privilege. My name is Milton Lawrence. I'm an international lifestyle photographer, cinematographer, and content strategist. A lot of times, I have to clear up the difference between what a photographer and videographer is because they think those are content creators and they're not. Okay. Those are photographers and videographers. Content doesn't start until you're ready to publish it. And so hopefully we'll be able to just debunk this whole thing of content creation, specifically for service-based business owners and that type of thing. I've spent the last 15 years producing content for influencers, for brands around the world. And I'm excited to be able to take this gift and now transition it into teaching others how to do the exact same thing, whether you're using your smartphone or you're using an Ari or a Red or some high profile camera. The point is, the goal is to start the conversation, and I'm really excited about having this conversation with Cadie here on the Tori Show.
Thank you so much. And by the way, we live on Tori Day. Tori Day is a platform that built entrepreneur. Tori Day is a platform too that you share content, as you just mentioned. And
Yes,
I hope you're going to follow the page and you're going
absolutely.
to talk about that a little bit. So again, I'm glad that you mentioned that there is a difference between photographer, videographer, and content. Since you said that, explain that to us.
So there's a saying in the world of content that content is king. In my opinion, content is not king, right? Whoever the king is, the person who makes the money. So most of us are entrepreneurs, and many of us want to run businesses. But if you're just putting out, if you're just publishing photos and videos and text, but you're not making any money, then content is not king for you. Content is king for the platform because that's how they make their money. The more you post onto that particular platform, they end up making money. So they're the king. When you content doesn't become king until you start making money, so you're able to monetize it for the better good of your family, no matter where you are around the world.
Wow. So, Milton, I know when I first met you, I was doing some training, and
Hmm.
you came in because we always have issue taking our own pictures. And
Yes.
sometimes when we travel, I think I met you in Vegas, I think,
Hmm. It was Las
and
Vegas. Yep.
yeah, Las Vegas. And you taught us how to take picture, how to stand, how to do so many stuff. And at the
Yes.
same time, you taught us about content. So,
Yes.
what made you start in being a videographer and mixing with content creator?
So that's a great question. So let's just say, so I said I've been in business for the last 15 years. The word content did not become relevant until around 2000, let me say 13, 14. That's when was the first time we've heard this new thing of quote unquote content creation, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so when I started in the nightclubs, right? I started in the nightclub as a photographer, right? When people partying, having a good time, I was there just there to capture the photos. That transition into capturing video. What happened was a lot of my clients were asking, if you can capture the photos, are you able to do video as well? Now I'm all self-taught. I haven't gone to any actual schooling at all. So I taught myself, and I learned from other practitioners and masters of the trade how to be able to do it through YouTube and other websites, and paying coaches to be able to help me. That was what allowed me to fast track the process and just using my own common sense as well, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
from there was this thing that came along that says, well, if someone's doing personal branding, or if someone is maybe building a website, or someone wants to, brand their personal, their expertise, they now they need to be able to spark a conversation. They need to be able to take these photos and videos and use them to be able to attract people to them. They need to be able to start a conversation, which is what content is in the first place. Content in its most simplest format is a conversation, right? When you hear something that says, when someone says something went viral, that means a lot of people are talking about this simple conversation, right? This single topic, right? So that's what content is. From a photography and video perspective, we play a role in that, in the visual of that, right? Whether it's going to be a photographic or video, but sometimes it could also be a graphic as well. Them independently by themselves, a photo or a video in and of itself could be a piece of content, right? But will it allow you to be, will it take the person from not knowing who you are to ushering them through to getting to know who you are, whether it's from coming onto your email list, your text message list, or again, extracting them from social media onto one of your platforms.
Wow. Now, Milton, as for
Yes.
our business owner, why
Yes.
did you decide to teach people how to take their own picture if we can just hire you and make all the money?
No, that's a really, really good question. So I told you I started in the nightclubs, and so the nightclubs um, was a great place, was a gym for photographers, right? Photographers and videographers, because you have all these different lighting scenarios. People are, pulling on you and tagging and because they're drunk, they say, take my picture, that type of thing. Well, that led to, there's different types of event photography and video, right? There's also
Mm.
weddings, there's corporate, and that type of thing. So what happened was, um, I got started in the end of 2008. This is probably maybe 2014 or 15. And what we noticed was that the cell phones started to get better. The quality of the phones started to get better. 2008, 2009, the images were trash. Around 2013 or 14, the images started getting better on the phone. So much to the point where many of us will choose the phone that we select based upon its camera, right? And so based upon the quality of the photo. So I went to a conference in Barbados where they had some of the top African Black African American Africans from Africans from the continent who all come together once a year. And at that conference, there was a conversation from a planner, from an event planner, from a wedding planner. And she said that, Milton, I'm kind of sick and tired of, what I mean, these new photographers not delivering our images, meaning that they're not capturing the details. Back in the day, when I was taught how to capture weddings, we would capture the bride and groom, the party, but we'd also capture the details. These details, meaning like the florals, the table settings, all those details. Long story short, I said to her, well, you can do it yourself. And everybody that was standing around at that time, it was about 20 people, was all standing around. They said, well, they gave me this look like bullshit. No, you can't. 6 months later, we hosted a class. As a matter of fact, I was invited to come in to teach a class, and I've been teaching the class ever since. That was 2016. And up till now, I still teach it to this day. Fast forward now, 2000 and let's say 18 and 19. They now started, a lot of the camera manufacturers, whether it's Apple or Samsung, they started to, in Android, the Android device, they started to really put a lot of emphasis on the portrait lens. That changed the game because now it was no longer about capturing details like architecture, big wide open spaces and that type of thing. You could now capture yourself. So people now today can now capture their own personal branding images. This doesn't replace the professional photographer at all. You still need your professional photographer once or twice a year, but you live life in between those moments. So if you have children, if you're traveling, if you want to be able to connect with your audience, you can't wait for the professional photographer to capture you. You have to know how to be able to use whatever smartphone that you may have to be able to capture the moment as it happens. And it's really those authentic moments that create connection in your content, so that you're not only posting professional images, you're capturing the moment as it happens.
Mm. Wow. Anyway, I remember talking about taking picture when we had the class back in the days. We
Mm-hmm.
had so many issues about what to post online, what is content. And that's one of the reasons why people don't post, because they don't know what to post. If
Right.
you want to build your brain or your business, you just don't know what to post every single day. So what
Right.
is content for you, or what should we post?
So I think that's a really good question, by the way. I think it really just depends on what your desired outcome is, right? So if you're a service-based business, I'll give you an example for service and product-based business. I think the audience tells you what they want from you, right? So if your desired outcome is you want people to buy your coaching, your expertise, if you're an expert, right, then you
Mhm.
need to be able to post. I believe you need to be able to post two different types of content, right? The first one is what I call top of mind content. And that's about 80% of the time. These are just ordinary conversations that maybe have a little bit of you in it, and maybe have a little bit of your expertise, and just general things around your niche, right? The other 20%, that's about 80% of the time, that's top of mind. The other type of content I think you ought to post is conversion content. This is the content that extracts people from social media. If we're using your social media as an example, extracts social media onto your list, right? A lot of people make the mistake, specifically experts will make the mistake of posting content, and they think that they're posting the content because they want somebody to buy for them immediately. That is not the first thing that you want to do. In my opinion, I think you want to be able to build trust, be able to build authority. And then from there, if people want to learn more, like when we get done with this interview, I'm going to invite you to come hang out with me. What do I mean by that? I have a free group where people come and I share value, right? I want to remove you from the general list and put you into a list where I want to get those that are interested in learning more about content creation, smartphone and video content creation. Then they'll come into my community where that's all we talk about. right? And then for those who want to take my classes and things like that, then you'll be offered the opportunity to be able to do that. Let's use an example of I use an expert. What about on a product-based business? A product-based business, showing the features of your product, more specifically the benefits of your product, showing the transformation of your products, right? Those types of things. If you're an employee, let's say you work a job, because I think what has happened now since you and I have talked last, Cadie, is that there was no conversation around content for employees, right? For people who worked a job. I believe in the next 5 years, that'll be a part of that'll be one of the things that differentiates you when you're looking for your next job. So if you're able to show how you solve problems creatively, right? Like visually be able to use content to show how you solve problems. I don't care if it's a math problem. I don't care if you are a scientist. If you can visually show how you're able to solve problems, I think that will give you a leg up in landing your next job. I want to throttle back for a second and talk about the product photography. Not product photography, but the product-based businesses, right? Those product-based businesses, what people are looking for is transformation. And the more you can show transformation, the more you can show testimonials, the more you can show the benefits of your product on how people were able to benefit and be able to get results from it, I think you'll be able to get a lot of traction with that. In addition to that, specifically for African people, African American people, I think that in addition to showing the benefits of the product, those who own those companies need to come out to the forefront, meaning that the owners, people want to know who you are. So personal branding is also a big piece of that as well.
That's the hard part, though. Remember when we did that exercise and nobody wanted to post content? You said good morning to the world.
Yes.
And we all did, and we had so many return, and everybody were like, good morning. And we told you, oh, what are we going to post later on? And you were like, well, the next
So
things. Well,
no,
really
what you was.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, so I'm really happy because that's content. That's what I said. Content is everything. Even though we know that content is everything, we always want to think like what people are looking for, what can we post? Like, it's so many stuff to post. And I remember one time I asked you, well, how many times do I have to post a day? And you said, how many times do you want to get paid? That's just how many times you want to post.
It's true. I think where a lot of people get caught up, Cadie, is they get caught up because they think they have to be perfect. Like many of us, as we work our jobs, as we work our careers, we literally we cannot make mistakes. And I will tell you that when it comes to building your business online or building your personal brand online, it is so forgiving. People are not, as a matter of fact, you have to remember when people come to social media, I don't care what platform it is, they're not coming to buy. They're not necessarily looking for perfection, right? They really just want you to show up and just be who you are, right? So as an example, here's something that everybody can take with them as an action item. Instead of trying to create content, just document it. Just document it. You will be surprised, like when your morning routine, as simple as it may be. So Milton, that doesn't make me any money. I'll talk about that here in a second. When you wake up in the morning, when you see your children, you see your partner, you see your spouse, what do you typically say to them? You say good morning, good afternoon, right? If you do a prayer in the morning, I want to try to help you simplify this, right? If you do your certain prayer in the morning, you do a certain facial, you clean your skin a certain way, you use certain products early in the morning, right? Something irritated you that morning. These little things help you to build connection. And that's what people are looking for. So that when you're ready to be able to sell a thing, when you're ready to come out with a product, oh, I know this person. What is this person selling? It piques my interest to find out what it is they're selling, right? And that type of thing. So instead of you trying to come up with the perfect post to put out, just document. You're gonna tell the story as your day unfolds. You don't have to tell everything. For those that are like I don't want the world to know all about my personal business. You don't have to tell everything, right? But you can start to build connection. Right? If the mistake that a lot of us will make is that we try to sell without building any type of connection. How does that feel to you when someone tries to sell you something and they don't know who you are? So building this personal brand and being able to have some type of vibe, using the various features of the platform. As an example, if we're talking about Facebook or Instagram, your feed, right, is a good place to be able to post content that you don't mind staying up, right? If it's something that's kind of moving and you don't want to keep up for a long period of time, then you use your stories, right? If you want to get reach, then you use your Facebook Reels and that type of thing. Same thing on the Instagram side of things, okay? Your feed is staple content, authority content that you want to stay in one place, right? That you don't mind being up for a good amount of time. If you want more reach, okay, you're going to use your Instagram Reels. Your stories is used to be able to build better connection. This is pretty standard across the board for both of those two platforms.
Wow. But for our business owner, create
Mhm.
content takes too much time. And if they have to focus on the business and they have to create content, I know you say we have to document and all those stuff, but since we don't really think straight, we get so busy and we usually hire social media to manager to manage our page.
For
And a
sure.
lot of my mentor or mentees has that issue that when you hire someone to create content, they have to come back to you all the time and ask you question. What do you want me to post? What do you want me to do that? So, what advice do you have for those business owners who have issues creating their own content because they're so busy working and they need to
Now,
hire someone to take over?
so I know one of the businesses that you own is a hair care store, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Let's use that as an example. So before you ever start posting, it's a really, really good idea. Number one, to be able to come up with your strategy, right? This is the reason why I say content is not king. Strategy is king. Content strategy is king, because when you execute the strategy that leads to your desired result in its working, then that makes content king, in my opinion. Okay. So
Okay.
if for someone like you that's busy, like you're actually running the business, you don't have time to be posting and all that type of stuff. If I asked you what your desired result was, what is your goal with your social media? Is it to build audience? Is it to be able to have a bigger local presence in your local market? What is your goal? Right? So when you now know what the goal is, the person that you hire as your social media manager is if that person's only just taking photos and posting it on social media, then you're going to get frustrated, right?
Mm-hmm.
If the person ever comes to you, as the social media comes to you and say, I don't know what to post, then that person, you hired the wrong person, in my opinion, right? You want to hire someone that's a social media manager who understands your industry and, more importantly, understands your customer. If you're 90% of your customer is a Black woman who's buying from your hair care store, then we want to know a little bit about that Black woman. She'll tell you everything that you need to know, right? From where she shops, to the way she celebrates, to where she travels, right? Because the cornerstone of everything she's going to do is the way that she looks. I'm using your business as an example, as a storefront,
Sure.
your hair care company, right? When she goes
Mm-hmm.
to work, when she travels, when she shops, when she goes out with her girlfriends, right? So whoever you choose to hire, they need to understand it as a baseline before they ever start talking about posting, right? And whenever they're going somewhere, as an example, whenever they're going somewhere, how often? Let me ask you this, Cadie. How often do Black women switch out their hair?
Just depend on the style they have, but if we can do that every day, we do it every day.
Right? So,
Mhm.
is it safe to say once a month or once or twice a month they swap out their hairstyles?
Very safe.
Okay, so if it's safe to say that, what she just told you without telling you, because she's not going to stand out and say, I'm looking for a new hairstyle. Sometimes she does, right? Then
Mhm.
one of the pieces of content that you could potentially create consistently over and over and over again is hairstyle inspiration. Okay. It's summertime right now. It's hot outside. Women typically wear like protective styles because they don't want to keep swapping their hair out. But if they're traveling somewhere, they want to have something. They don't have to worry about their hair. So what's a
Mhm.
good hairstyle? What are 3 hairstyles? You don't have to do the hairstyles yourself. You can find them online and just show examples. What are different types of hairstyles that women can do when they travel with their girlfriends? What
Most
types
of
of
them,
hairstyles if you're planning to get into the water? What are you about to say?
yeah, most of the time they get knotless just because they want to go on the water.
So, what are the different ways you can wear your knotless braids or your knotless styles, right? How do I
Mhm.
protect my hair when I'm traveling, right? Okay.
Mhm.
And then what are the different types of products that you could potentially use to help me um to lock in my what's the word I'm looking for, to keep my hair
Moisture.
maintained? Is hair maintenance a
Mhm.
big thing for your clients, for Black women?
Yes. Mhm.
So she just told you what the type of content. So it's your responsibility as the owner to be able to come up with what that strategy is going to be, and then they go out and execute it. Whoever your social media manager is, they can't put their brain in a box and say, "Well, just because Cadie said this is the way I'm supposed to do it, this is the way I'm supposed to do it." If you see that there's a if they see that you put out 20 or 30 pieces of content, that's step one. You put out 20 or 30 pieces of content, and then you're able to look at that and say, all right, these 5 pieces of content people really, really resonate with. Then we start to replicate those 3 over and over and over and over and over again. So that's an example of what I mean by if you're busy, then you have to listen to your customer. Your customer will tell you everything you need to know, but you have to pay attention to them and not just focus on, I just want the transaction. They want the story around the transaction that you're looking for.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for that. I hope that people are listening. I'm just going to
I hope
give
that
you a
was
few minutes.
valuable.
It's very valuable. This is like a full master class that I paid to get. So I'm just going to give you some time to rest a little bit. And I'm going to talk to my people in French and I will come back to
Okay,
you.
no problem.
Encore, je suis connectée sur la plateforme de Toride. Toride, c'est une plateforme qui construit des entrepreneurs, qui share des histoires, des shows et tout ce qui se passe dans la communauté. Donc, si vous avez quelque chose dans la communauté ou si vous voulez faire votre show ou partager des informations, contactez-le et il va vous set right. Aujourd'hui, je reçois un homme qui s'appelle Milton. Il est américain. Il voyage dans le monde entier pour prendre des photos, des vidéos pour des stars, des artistes. Et à the same time, il crée des contents. Je ne sais pas comment on dit content en français, mais je pense qu'il crée, je sais pas, quelque chose comme content et il poste online. Aussi, il éduque les personnes comment utiliser ton téléphone pour créer les contents parce qu'il croit que si tu voyages ou si tu fais des choses et tu n'as pas ton personnel photographeur avec toi, tu dois toujours raconter tout ce que tu fais de ta vie. Et il nous disait que quand tu veux créer les contents, c'est vrai que nous, les business owners, on est souvent frustrés parce qu'on ne sait pas quoi faire. Mais juste quand tu te réveilles le matin, la première chose que tu fais, que ça soit bonjour, bonjour le monde, que ça soit comment tu vas, que si tu expériences n'importe quoi dans ta vie, documente ça et mets ça en ligne. Il y a des gens qui sont très privés, qui n'aiment pas partager leur vie dehors. On ne vous demande pas de dire tout ce que vous faites dans vos maisons ou dans vos business, mais ce qui est important est que vous documentez et vous racontez des histoires. De nos jours, on n'a pas besoin que votre content soit parfait, votre contenu, je vais retrouver le mot, votre contenu soit parfait. On a juste besoin que vous soyez vous-même, mettez des choses en place. Et si vous avez besoin de plus de conseils sur comment créer des contenus, comment promouvoir vos business, il est une bonne personne pour contacter. On va laisser ces informations dans la barre de description. Aussi, il enseigne les gens aussi, comme je dis, à prendre des photos vous-même et à créer vos contenus de votre page. Et il est en train de dire que ne vous précipitez pas à vendre. Parce que pour nous, les business owners, quand on poste les choses en ligne, on expecte les gens de payer. Mais si les gens ne te connaissent pas, parce qu'on dit souvent que les gens payent qui tu es, pas forcément ce que tu vends. Si tu construis des connexions avec des gens avant de vendre, c'est plus facile pour toi d'avoir des clients. Donc, si tu veux motiver ta page, si tu veux apprendre à vendre en ligne, il est important de savoir qui sont tes clients. Si tu appartiens, exemple, à un hair store, donc un salon de coiffure, exemple, tu dois savoir c'est qui tes clients, qu'est-ce qu'elles aiment, qu'est-ce qu'elles font, quels sont les styles qu'elles aiment. Et par rapport à ça, tu vas savoir quoi poster sur ta page. Donc, il dit beaucoup de choses en anglais que je ne peux pas tout vous dire ici. Donc, si vous voulez plus d'informations encore, posez juste vos questions et plus tard, je reviendrai parler avec vous. Encore, je suis maquillée par MJ Makeup. Elle est mon make-up artist. C'est elle qui fait tout mon maquillage. Où je parle, ce que je fais, c'est elle qui m'apprend à faire le maquillage. Donc, si vous voulez faire votre maquillage dans Dallas ou c'est pas quelque part dans les États-Unis, contactez-la. Elle voyage et elle va vous set right. Elle donne aussi des classes de maquillage et juste contactez MJ Makeup Dallas et elle va vous garder right. Again, I'm live on Toride. Toride is a platform that built entrepreneur that share everything about the community, either good, bad, whatever happened. He share it on his platform. There is so many shows that they do. Just make sure that you follow the page, you turn on your notification, and if you need any help, if you want to start a show, if you want to promote something, just make sure you contact him and he's going to set you guys right. And today I'm receiving a great guy named Milton. He's a photographer, a videographer. I know him personally as a content creator. That's how I got in contact with him. But I was so blessed for him to invite me and teach me how to take pictures for myself, for my business, how to stand, how to buy a camera and a stand and all those stuff. And I had some great time when he came to Dallas. He took me out to eat. He showed me how to do so many stuff. And we still some good friend. And he has said all, even though when I start the show and I say content is a king, that's what they say. And he made it tweak. if you don't have a good strategy, you can do anything. Milton,
Yes, ma'am.
I was just talking to my people in French and just letting them know everything you says. I didn't tell them everything. I just tell them the more important things.
Sure.
I know you have a tour coming up in the class, and I
I
want
do.
us to talk a little bit about that because you say 1 hour content.
Yes.
Is it like a strategy or is it like what it is?
No, it's a
Just
really good
because the
question.
title was everything.
So what I talked about was, again, most people say that content is king, and in my opinion, content is not king. I want to repeat that because I think it's extremely important for people to understand. Content is not king. Content strategy is king, right? And so
Mhm.
having a strategy, one of the biggest frustrations that a lot of entrepreneurs have is that they're not consistent with posting their content. And a lot of that inconsistency comes from clarity, right? Not knowing, what to post, how to post, and equally as important, being able to take in consideration your personality. If you're an introverted person but you have a business, how do I do this so that I can attract who I'm looking for? And so at the end of the day, what we're doing is on July the 24th, I'm hosting a planning session. I'm going to sit down with you. Okay. There will be a group of us, right? We're going to do it virtually. And I'm going to be sharing how to be able to plan out your content. So, right now, as an example, retail stores, you have to run your business like a business. Retail stores are gearing up right now for the fall. Although we're in the summertime, they're gearing up for the fall. Okay. The same thing for us who run service-based businesses and product-based businesses. We should be getting prepared for the upcoming fall. So what we're doing is on July the 24th, I'm going to open up the opportunity for us to be able to work together for 50 people, and we're going to plan out together 30 days of content in for the month of August. So we're going to plan it in July, start creating it so that you can start posting, so you can get ahead of the curve. One of the hardest things to do is to be able to is to plan, produce, and publish the content in real time. That's not easy to do. But if you know that you have events that are coming up, as an example, or there's things that are happening in the month of August, right? You can start to plan for that and prepare your content long before it's time to post it. So that planning session is going to be on July the 24th, and we can talk more about that a little bit later. But that's essentially what's going to be happening. You can go as a matter of fact, you can go to miltonlaunchjr.com/plan. Go to miltonlaunchjr.com/plan, and you can register. It is a fee. Okay, so from now until the 15th, is an early bird special. You can actually get it now. Get your slot now. But once those slots are done, it's done.
You said 30-day content in an hour.
Yes, we're
It
going to
takes me
plan
like
out.
2 hours to create 2 contents.
Right. So there's a difference between planning content and creating content,
Mm-hmm.
right? So most people get stuck in the creation phase. When you look at the framework of putting out a piece of content, normally there's the planning. Oh, I want to create a piece of content. That's planning. Now I'm going to go out and shoot it. I'm actually going to produce the content. That's second part of the framework. Then it's time to post process, which is the editing piece, and the last is publishing. We're talking about planning. We're going to plan it out. So you now know you can now pace yourself as to how you want to go out and create it and put it out. Here's something that we're going to talk about actually during the classroom is the frequency of how often should you post, right? It's my opinion when it comes to posting content that it's like going to the gym, right? If you go to the gym and you go in there and you wear yourself out, then the next day your body's going to be too sore for you to do anything else. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So my recommendation is when you first start posting content, the goal is not to start posting content every day. I would love to see when you first start posting content, and we're going to talk more about this inside the actual class, is that you would start on a regimen that makes sense for you. If it looks like you posting once a week and your audience know that you're going to show up every week at this time, then I would prefer for you to do that consistently than for you to post on a Monday and then we don't hear from you again until next month. Right? Because again, you're not inspired. You don't feel like doing it. But if it's planned out, if your content is planned out, then you know exactly when you're going to be publishing it. Just like your favorite TV show or your favorite soap opera or your favorite YouTube channel. When they post their content, they're posting it on a particular schedule, so you know when to expect that content to come out. Your audience is looking for that. That's how you're able to build consistency and connection with them.
So is it okay for me to just post 3 times a week and forget about the other days?
Repeat that. Repeat that again.
Is it okay for me to just post 3 times a week and forget about the other days?
If 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 that's what your frequency is, that's absolutely okay. I would prefer
Okay.
that than one not posting at all, right? Right?
Mm-hmm.
If you can only post 3 times a week, okay, and that's consistency. They know I'm going to see you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 o'clock. Okay, that's what I'm expecting to see your content. Then I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Rather than you post today and then I don't hear from you again for another 6 months, or you post tomorrow and I don't hear from you until the following week, and it's sporadic and that type of thing. People want to build relationships, and that's how you do it virtually, by being consistent, and posting on the schedule. It doesn't have to be perfect. If it's you said 12 o'clock and you do it at 12:30, that's fine. But it's still consistent. But it's the inconsistency that people can't they can't rock with you, and they can't go on the journey with you.
Wow. So Milton,
Yes,
can
ma'am.
you share a story with us that your content have created some good impact on people businesses? Because whenever you do your classes, you have so many different type of people. And
Sure.
like how do you manage all those different businesses and you teach them how to plan content? So I want to hear from you from a story that you have. Someone's story, I mean one of your successful story.
So so the questions around a success story that my content's been able to impact. Probably the most impactful story that I have to date. I had a physician who had a side project. So by day, they call her name is Tracy Short, Dr. Tracy Short. She's the American Burn doctor. I met her at a conference and she said, Milton, that my hospital wants to be able to create a documentary of a burn camp. These are kids between the ages of, let's say, 7 and about 18, who can't go to a regular camp because they're always teased because their skin is extremely burned. So what they did was they said, well, we want to commission somebody to come in and create some content, and we want to turn it into a documentary. And the reason why we want to do this is because we want to be able to show the world, or show the Baton Rouge community, Baton Rouge, Louisiana community, of the great things that we're doing within the community by serving these burn students. So they commissioned me to come in. They commissioned me to come in to produce it. Myself and another videographer came in to be able to produce the entire thing. And what happened that we didn't know what was going to happen. Once the documentary was done, they featured it at the actual hospital. The governor of Louisiana came in, and when they came in, he cut them $1 million check.
Wow.
That's on a grand scale. Let's talk about from a small business standpoint. Let's say you have a mom and pop, you have a service-based business. Let's use
Mhm.
let's use this as a success story. There's an influencer by the name of April Franks. April Franks, she's actually a big influencer. She reached out to me and she says, "Hey, so I want to do a docu-series, right? I want to do a docu-series." She reached out and said, "Hey, I have a conference that I'm doing, but I also want to be able to, I want to bring women on the journey with me." So we ended up doing a 4-part docu-series showing the behind the scenes of how she does what she does. Most people knew her, know the outcome, but most people didn't understand the middle ground, right? Well, when she wakes up in the morning, how does she run her business? As a mother, how does she parent? Those types of things. What does she do for fun? Those types of things. And so we produced that docu-series for her. She featured it, and she was able to sell out. She was able to help. It actually helped her to sell out one of her masterminds, in other conferences in the that came that same year. So content at all levels, whether it's micro content, something under 30 seconds, or you're doing a full-on documentary, it all sparks a conversation. And if you have a strategy, which is the most important thing, that allows you to be able to take people from where you are, take them on a journey with you, and bring them into an ecosystem, because not everybody's going to be ready to buy from you right now. That allows you to be able to nurture them, and in that process, when you have a product that aligns to where they are in life, then they'll buy. They'll buy from you.
Wow. So as a small business, how can a small business create picture or good content without spending too much money on equipment? So how can we do to make our picture look professional without spending too much money?
Can you see it?
But we do have that. We don't know how to use it.
So that's step one. So I would ask the question, is that what your audience wants? I think that's what you want to give them, but is that something that your audience wants? Does your audience want photos? Right? I would start by
Mhm.
asking the question, what does your audience want? Does your what is your, again, we talked about becoming very specific about and strategic about who your audience is, and about who your buying customer is. And so when you say, how do I take better pictures? There's many different ways to answer that question. I would say probably the biggest mistake that a lot of people make, Cadie, is they take blurry pictures. So by literally having some type of lens cloth and cleaning off the lens, that would really, really be able to help your content, number one. That's number one, right? Cleaning off the actual lens itself, that's step number one. Number two is making sure that you have good lighting, right? So clean your lens and have great lighting, right? And so if you're going to be, number three is being intentional. When it comes to lighting, we're going to be intentional about where we position that product or that product so that we can capture the best picture. Now, when you say take better pictures, are you talking pictures of yourself or are you talking pictures of your products?
Both.
Both. Okay. So same thing applies. Clean your lens. Okay. You want natural, beautiful, natural lighting. Right where I am now, on the East Coast of the United States, it's dark outside. So I was very intentional about making sure I had great lighting so you guys could be able to see me with a little bit of spill light behind me. That's intentional. If I'm taking a picture of myself, I want to make sure that the lighting is hitting me properly. The mistake a lot of people make is the phone. The lighting must be what the phone sees, not what you see, right? It's what the phone
Mhm.
sees, not what you see. And so if you see, I like this beautiful backdrop in the background, and I want to take a picture in front of it. And when the phone takes the picture and you come out dark, it's because the phone doesn't like that lighting in that particular scenario. Okay. If the focus of that picture is going to be on you, then you want to make sure the lighting is hitting you properly. Okay. And so I like to do what I call a light test, which is literally you take your phone, you turn it on to, you turn the phone into selfie mode and you spin in 360 degrees. That will tell you the direction that you should be shooting in. That will help you to start taking better pictures of you. And when it comes to products, I think that still products of your products of your pictures of your products are great, but I think what's more important are pictures of people using your products, right? Especially if your goal is to be able to start to create connection and start to create transactions.
Wow. So Milton, where
Yes,
is the
ma'am.
class going to be?
So the how to plan 30 days of content in 1 hour is virtual. So it'll actually be online. You can watch it from your phone or watch it from your home. I just recommend if you do plan to come, bring a notepad because we're going to go over a lot of stuff that you can implement immediately. We're not talking about something you can do and then it takes you months to be able to do. Once we get done, you're going to leave more excited because you'll have clarity, right? We'll spend the first 15 to 20 minutes talking about what content is and what content isn't, right? This
Mhm.
particular class, I do want to say, is mainly designed for event professionals, right? It's not for everybody. It's designed for if you're in the event niche, right? Let's say you are a photographer, videographer, you're a planner, you're a balloon designer. If you are a service-based business or product-based business in the event niche, then it will be a good look for you.
Okay. And how long is the class?
It's 1 hour.
1 hour.
Yep,
Is it
start to
going to be
finish.
1 hour or is going to be like a little bit more?
No, it'll be 1 hour. So we're gonna get started and we're gonna go right in. Once you
Okay.
learn, what's funny is once you learn how to plan out your content, it doesn't take that long,
Mm,
right?
okay.
What happens is most of us don't know how to plan out our content. We jump right into production, right? If you look at the
Mhm.
framework, it's plan, produce, post process, and then publish. Most of us jump right into production, but we don't plan out anything. And so what ends up happening is you end up having a brain fart, or you like, man, and you get frustrated, and you have a bunch of photos and videos in your phone, and you don't even and you never post anything because you get stuck in the production phase. So what we're going to do is we're going to slow down, we're going to back up, and we're going to do things properly. Once you plan it, you produce it, you post process it, and then you publish it. Right? For those who get frustrated with post processing, meaning the editing of things, you don't have to do it. I'm going to give some resources on the class on how to edit your stuff that you don't have to edit, whether it's AI or outsourcing it to someone else.
So do you think, since you talk about AI, do you think AI will take over your job?
It already has in many ways, right?
Mm.
It already has in many ways. What AI? That's a really good question, by the way. So AI is amazing, but it doesn't replace the work, right? It doesn't replace you actually physically doing the work. So again, I think AI is a great assistant. I think AI has already started to create photos and videos and different things like that. So in many ways, it has, but there's still a nostalgia. There's still this human connection that people still want. And if you're good, what AI has forced many photographers and videographers to do is to be really good at what you do. You cannot just be a photographer or videographer. You now need to be able to know what to do with those images and videos to be able to help the client to achieve whatever their goals are.
Wow. I'm glad that you said that. So are you telling me that the few job coming in the future, everybody need to learn how to take picture, videographer and all that?
I think those that are professional photographers and videographers, they will need to learn. They will need to be able to learn how to add more value rather than just taking photos and videos. Right? Those who own businesses, if they want to be able to sell their products, right? I,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's a way to sell your product without showing it. Right? Many of
No.
us are in the show me business. You have to show people what where you are, what you do, where your location is. If you have a storefront, what products that you sell, you have to be able to do that. I also believe that everything doesn't need to be professional. I really believe that. I don't believe that every photo needs to be a professional photo. I think you can capture a lot of photos and videos on your own that people will resonate with. And here's the thing: it's okay. They're not expecting. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you what: when you're posting on social media, it is acceptable. There's an appetite for images and videos from the owner that they know that's not a professional photographer, right? Especially if
Mm-hmm.
they're looking to solve a problem. I will say this: when you are, as an example, if you're looking for, let's use you as an example. You have a hair care store. If someone's looking for some type of edge gel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And and she says, "Can you show me a picture of what it looks like?" And you held the edge gel out and took a picture of it and sent it to them. Do you think they care if it's a professional photo or not?
No, they don't.
All they care about is that it solves their problem, correct?
Yes.
Right. And if you can show, the only thing that makes it better is if you can show the edge gel and somebody who used it that actually slicked down their edges and made them look super pretty and that type of thing. So I think there's an appetite for instantness, meaning something that you can give me right now, right? And they're not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily looking for it to be perfect. Now, that's contrasted to a website. If you have a website, they are expecting it for it to be professional. They're looking for that clean white background. They're looking for those lifestyle type images and that type of thing. So I think there's a place for both of them.
Okay. So now talking about you as a photographer, what advice do you have for anyone watching us who want to turn their passion until photographer and videographer as a career to make money? Because we know that so many people who does pictures, if they don't get hired, or maybe if they don't go to events, they don't really make money. So what can you tell those
So I,
business owners want to do that?
So, for individuals around the world who would like to get into the photography genre or the photography discipline, I think that it's extremely important to understand that it is actually a skill. I know that the phone manufacturers have made it. They've made it simple for everybody to have phones. Everybody is a photographer, but not everyone is an image maker. There's a difference, right? The very fact if you have a smartphone with a camera on it, you are a photography by technicality, right? That doesn't make you an
Mm-hmm.
image maker. An image maker is someone who wants to monetize, is someone who learns the skill of photography. And the skill of photography is understanding the technicality of the phone or the technicality of the camera, but equally as important, understanding people. 90% of photography is learning people, bringing the best out of people. The third piece to that is learning the business side, right? Is learning the business side and learning from someone who's already gone before you. Sure, you can go onto YouTube and watch as many videos as you want, but I would say that, you know, the genre of photography will never die, and those who want to be able to make money with it, you can still make a full-time living from it, because that's what I do. I travel around the world. In a few days, I'll be going to Greece, and I'll be following around 6 women bouncing around Greece and Mykonos and Santorini and those types of things, because there are people who still love the originality of having a photograph captured of them and video captured of them as they're living their life. It's a thing, right? When the movie Girls Trip came out, that made it a thing. These women are now taking trips all over the world. It's been going on for a lot longer than that, but they really made it popular. And now what's happening in our genre, especially for women, for females, for women who want to get into the genre, the opportunity is wide open all over the world.
So how do you advertise yourself? Like what advice do you have for them? Because sometimes people know how to do that, but they can't find clients. So what makes you stand out?
That's a really good question. The number one way I wouldn't say the number one way to stand out is the work. The work, okay, is proof that you are a photographer, right? People don't know what they're looking for, but they know when they see it. That's probably a good way to say it, right? So producing quality work, number one, is probably the number one way to stand out. The second way are your relationships, right? Our relationships. I would say to you, where most people spend their time posting onto social media, right, in this very crowded space, there's a book called, I think it's called The Blue Pill, okay? Blue Pill, Red Pill, something like that. Or Blue Ocean, the Blue Ocean strategy, okay? One of my favorite Blue Ocean strategies, okay, where if everybody's on social media posting, I'm going to post over there, right? Because that's where my audience is. But I'm also going to go build relationships. I'm going to go in person to shake hands and go to. Here's my favorite line when I teach my coaching clients: go where you're wanted, go where you're needed, and go where you're not found.
Where you are not found?
Yes. If you need a contextual example of that, if my goal is to work with nurses, right? I'm not going to go talk to just one nurse. I'm going to go where all the nurses gather. So once a year, twice a year, they may have a convening. They may have a convention. They may have whatever. I'm going to that conference.
So when you get to that conference, what do you do?
I shake hands. I introduce myself. But more importantly, I have strategies where I get them to come to me. So typically I'll walk around. I'm not a nurse, right? So I'm going to walk around nurse content creator on my shirt with maybe a QR code with my contact details. So that works over and over and over and over again. So now I don't have to walk up and shake your hand. They come up to me. Many nurses are travel nurses. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when they now take them and their girlfriends and they go travel, then that's how they hire me to go and travel with them, because that's what I'm looking for. That's totally different if you're a portrait photographer. If you're a family portrait photographer and you want to stay local and you don't want to travel, then one of the things I would recommend for you to do is to go to where mommies are, where mothers are, right? And a lot of mothers go to different events. They go to parks and different things like that. Then that's how I would advertise. Okay, that's how I would stand out in my local marketplace.
I mean, I'm learning so many stuff, because from now and on, whenever I go to conferences, I'm going to have like my shirt make like micro locks done and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and I will have people coming to me.
Yeah. So if you're a micro locks or you do braids or whatever the case may be, put it on your shirt. Use your body as an advertising campaign, so that when you get to that location, you don't have to go walk up to people like, okay, micro locks. So some people are extroverted. They'll walk up to you and they'll just say, who are you and what do you do? Right. But when you're going into a place and you want to spark conversation, like, I already know who you are. And because I'm walking, as an example, in my case, my client are either people who are hosting conferences, right? People hosting conferences and retreats, and they travel. Then I'm going to places where I'm looking for someone that's going to do that. And they walk right up to you. Like, and they'll say, well, why are you here? To meet you. That's why I'm here. Simple.
So that's why you came to the retreat we had in Vegas?
No, I was hired as a speaker to come. Right? But to your point, go where you're wanted, go where you're needed, and go where you're not found. What was one of the biggest frustrations for the attendees in the Las Vegas retreat that you were at when you and I met? What was the biggest frustration?
Creating
content. Mm-hmm. There you go. Go where you're wanted, go where you're needed, and go where you're not found.
Wow, I have learned so much today. And whew, I want to ask you, so how do you stay updated with all those trending stuff, new devices, new content, new things online, and with what you do? Because there is always something coming out. So how do you stay updated with all that?
So I take at least once a week, and I'll take 2 hours where I literally go and I have certain pages that I go to find out what's new, what's trending, and what's coming out. My goal is not to become an expert at all the things that are coming out. As a matter of fact, my goal is not even to try to do all of them. That's actually one of the biggest ways to stay frustrated, right? If
Mm-hmm.
it's to try every little trend that comes out. That is not the goal. The goal. The goal is not to try to become an expert at all things. I have a very specific niche, right? And I have my audience. I'm really focusing on what my audience needs, right? So that I can be able to stay top of mind and equally be able to continue to serve them, as things continue to grow.
Okay. So anyway, you share so much about creating content and all those stuff. So for anyone want to learn how to create content or strategize, just make sure that you follow Milton. Milton, please give them your Facebook page and how to get in
Sure.
contact with you.
So what I would say to you is, number one, sign up for the class, right? The class is coming up. Go to miltonlaunchjr.com/plan. That's miltonlaunchjr.com/plan. And for those who just want to follow the brand and learn how to continue to create content, the physical planning of actually creating of the content, you can follow me at the Content Professor on Facebook. If you type in the Content Professor on Facebook, it'll take you right over to the page. And even on Instagram, you can also follow me there at the Content Professor.
Okay. And also, you said the class, when is the discount end?
The 15th. It ends on the 15th.
July, July 15th. Okay.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm going to take all the information in your flyer. We're going to share the flyer later. And if someone wants to get in contact with you, we will send them your ways. And
Absolutely.
do you have another class coming up apart from that one?
For now, that's the number one class that we're doing. We're launching a whole new program in August, but right now that's the one we're focused on for right now.
Okay. So now let's talk a little bit about business before I let you go.
Sure.
So what have you done to stay consistent in your business?
So I think that the initially when I first started, it was being consistent in my business was there's a motivation, right? And for me,
Mhm.
motivation was I needed to be able to feed my family, to feed my daughters, right? Now my kids are grown, right? And the youngest is 16. I have a new motivation, right? My newest motivation is my youngest is going off to college, right? And so although we can get loans and that type of thing, I've challenged myself to pay for it in cash. So, being consistent and staying top of mind and building my business um, is definitely a motivator because that I have a bill coming up, right? If you want to keep a roof over your head and those types of things, that's extremely important. I think what's also important, I have a really big appetite for travel. I really love to learn. I love to travel around the world, and that stuff's not cheap, right?
Mhm.
And so, building my business and making sure that those things that are important to me, right, stay important. Um, I use it as motivation to stay focused and not get distracted. I think a lot of entrepreneurs they really get distracted when it comes to building their business with all the bells and whistles. Well, so and so said to go do this, and so said to go do that. No, no, no. We're gonna keep the blinders on, and we're gonna stay focused and really block out all the noise and stay focused, on the task at hand.
So can you share with me some challenges or obstacles that you faced during your whole, especially when working with people, because taking pictures, creating content is not easy. What some challenges you have faced?
I faced a lot of challenges. Probably the first challenge was actually getting my work to be good enough for people to want to hire me. That was the first thing, right? It was really getting the work to where it needed to be. Then to make it more contextual about content was I probably spent, Facebook's been around since February of 2004. I didn't get into photography to 2008, and I did what everybody else did. I took my pictures when I thought as good as I thought they were, and I would post them. And you know what? It was crickets. Nobody would hire me based upon that, right?
Mhm.
All they saw was pretty pictures, because what I didn't understand, to going back to your question about a major challenge that I didn't understand, I'm posting consistently, but nobody would ever like go in my DMs and want to hire me. What I didn't realize was that nobody cared about the photos. And the reason why nobody cared about the photos, because they weren't in them. So
Mm.
until I was able to make it contextual, until I was able to make it about them, it probably took me until about 2019 to realize what I was doing wrong. I'm posting beautiful images from weddings, from from the Caribbean, to Australia, to all over the world. And it was I would get very mediocre results. It wasn't until I started giving context to what was happening around. I was able to start documenting what was happening around it, because now people can see themselves. Do you know that when someone looks at an image, even if they know they're not in the image, they're looking for themselves in that image?
No.
It's true. Psychologically, when someone looks at if someone looks at an image, even if they know they're not in the image, two things is happening. They know they're not in the image. They're saying to themselves, "How do I look? How would I look if I was in that particular picture?" This is the reason why when your favorite celebrities are taking pictures, they're saying, she slayed that picture," but she's also subconsciously thinking, "How would I look in that picture?" Right?
Mhm.
So when I started realizing that, I started realizing, okay, I need to change up I need a real strategy. The strategy of just posting pretty pictures is not going to be the vibe. No one cares at the end of the day. No one actually really cares. What they care about is when you make it about them. And that's people naturally care about themselves. When you make it about them, then that's what changed the game. So when that happened, the next step in the process was now taking that and now selling that in the marketplace, which I shared with you a little bit earlier. But it was a major frustration, because I thought content was king. I thought that by posting photos and videos by themselves and telling a little bit of story about how amazing my couple was. Let's say I took a picture of you. I did a photo session with you, a branding session with you. I will post 3 or 4 of your pictures, right? And I said, congratulations to my amazing couple, my amazing, client Cadie. She's a hairstyle owner, a hairstylist and hair store owner. And I would get 5 or 6 likes. Let's contrast that now, right? I would take that same picture. Let's say you're wearing this yellow and black and white, okay? And how did I come up with the background that we're going to shoot you on, right? How does she come up with that color contrast? Believe it or not, a lot of women, specifically, okay, men and women, are mannequin shoppers. How did you come up with
Mhm.
that color combination? Right? How did you choose what you were wearing? And when I started giving that type of value, then they saw me as an expert, not just a photographer. Does that
Hmm.
help?
Okay. He does. So, Milton,
Yes, ma'am.
we talk about the community now. How did the community support you? And when I talk about the community, I talk about everybody. When you start your business, did you expect your whole family and friends to come and support you and all that?
Yeah, they didn't. They didn't. I think most of us, and I think for a couple different reasons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, and initially, sometimes you may see on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, you'll see a post that says, why does your family will buy from a stranger before they buy from you, right? That's for a couple of different reasons, right? Let me break that down for you. I just did a post about this on my Instagram page. Number one, when we first start our business, all of us, especially when you're first getting started, if I know you to go to school to be, let's say, a nurse, well, you went to school to be, I don't know, an engineer. In my mind, that's what you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you decide that you're going to open up a hair store, so in my mind, you're in the position in my mind as a what?
Your hairstyle stylist.
No, 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 no. Remember, and I'm your family member. I know you as an engineer. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know you as a hairstylist. Do you understand what I'm saying? So whenever
Mm-hmm.
you start a new business, you have to market and you have to do what I call an awareness campaign. You have to let people know, specifically your warm market, your family. You have to let them know that you own a business. That's different than what they know you for. So if they know your career path as an accountant, okay, let's use as an example. You're a hairstylist. Cadie is synonymous with hair. If Cadie decided she was going to start a balloon business, right? Guess what? You saw your aunt have a party and she hired somebody else to do the balloons. He says, well, why didn't she hire me? You weren't top of mind. She knows you as a hairstylist. Do you understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's not enough to be able to tell your family that you own that you own a business. You have to continue to remind them and stay top of mind. And then the next step of that, the work has to be quality. Right? So a lot of times your family and your community won't support you because they don't just trust the quality of the work, or they don't even know that you're in business at the end of the day.
So that what happened with you at the beginning when you start?
Yeah. So here's what I believe. I couldn't give my work away. I remember doing. You ever heard of a BOGO sale? Buy one, get one.
Get one.
Yeah. I remember hosting a Mother's Day BOGO sale. Right? Bring a mother, you and your mother come, bring a mother, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody bought it. And it's because they didn't trust my work. The quality of the work wasn't there. I can only tell you that because I can look back at that time. No one ever bought that work. And when they came to social media, nobody was coming to social media to buy anything, right? I hadn't built any relationships with regards to the quality of my work. Here's what have been a better solution for me. If I would have taken maybe 3 or 4 of my family members, right, and I went out and I did photo shoots with them, right, the other family wouldn't see it because everybody talks to one another, right? Everybody's kind of intermingling. That would have been a better choice for me, but I didn't do that, right? I went out and I start talking to strangers. I didn't warm up. I didn't spend time, investing in, letting my warm market know who I was and what I did, right? So that was it. That was the problem. That's the problem that I had, right? And then the last one is they just willfully don't want to buy from you, right? But I think that's a very small percentage, right? I think what it really boils down to is, number one, you're not top of mind. Number two, they don't trust the quality of your work, okay? 3, they're not your customer. And number 4, they just really don't want to buy from you. I think the first 3 is the reality, right? And the number 4, which is they don't want to buy from you, right? Or them not supporting you, is like really the minority when it's all said and done.
So why do you think people, when they come to you, even though they trust your work, they're ready to go pay someone else like $1,000 to do a photo shoot, but when it comes to their family member or their friend, they just argue about the discount or they want to discount your business?
No, that's a really good question. So remember I said there's 4 reasons, right? Number 1, you're not top of mind. Number 2, you haven't indoctrinated with them. And number 3, they're not your customer, right? When we were in Las Vegas, I talked about the different types of customers that are out there, right? One being the DIY customer. You have to know, as an entrepreneur, it is our responsibility to know that every customer is not your customer, right? And if a customer is motivated by price, in most cases, they're a budget customer, right? They're also what's called a boutique customer. Boutique customers are really they make their decisions based upon who has used you, what kind of reviews that you may have, right? The third type of customer is the type of customers more like a luxury customer. The work in all these scenarios, the work has to match that particular customer. If somebody's coming to you and the first thing they're saying to you is, in their minds, that if I charge $1,000 for a photo shoot and they're looking to only spend $250, then in most cases that person's just not your customer. You don't get upset with that situation. They're just not your customer.
So are you willing to give them discount to keep them?
No, it depends on where I am in business. Right? It depends on where I am in business. Number 1, there's a South African influencer. His name is Vusi, right? And he said something that was extremely important. Price is only an issue when it's absent of value. If they don't value what you do, it doesn't matter what the price is. If they don't value what you do, I don't care if it's locks. I don't care if it's, There's a customer who values that. You have to put yourself in the position where you're talking to that customer.
Okay.
That's our responsibility. Our responsibility is to align ourselves to where our customers are. I'm not looking to do family portraits, although I started in the nightclubs. Did I do family portraits? For many years, I did family portraits. Do you follow what I'm saying? I'm not looking to do family portraits, right? Why? Because I have a certain lifestyle that I want to live, and I have certain goals I need to make on a monthly basis. So if I have financial goals I want to meet, then I also like working smarter than versus working hard, right? It would take me, as an example, it would take me probably about 25 to 30 portrait sessions or family portrait sessions to do what the money I would make from one conference, if you will. Do you understand what I'm saying? So do one conference over 1 or 2 days, or to do 30 photo shoots with all these personalities. No. Right? It took me a long time to figure that out. So you have to know who your customer is. So and when you set your goals and you decide on what lifestyle that you want and how much money you want to make, then you start talking to that particular customer. You start strategically aligning yourself to where those customers are. Everybody's not your customers. And if you want to be frustrated, try to sell to everybody and you'll see how frustrated you are.
Yeah, I learned my lesson with that. I'm so happy about everything you have shared. And I saw some people on live asking about the price and everything. I just want you to let them know again when is the class, what time, the day, and where they can sign up and see all those information.
Yes, good. Thank you for that. So the class is called How to Plan 30 Days of Content in 1 hour. It's going to be hosted on July the 24th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the US. The price of the class is $49, but it's on sale right now for $27 until we sell out. Once we sell out, that's it. The sale goes up until the 15th, and then it goes up to its regular price.
Okay. And they can follow you on Milton. What's the name of your Facebook page
The
again?
Content Professor. So you can follow me at the Content Professor. I have a Facebook group. It's a free Facebook group. You can follow me there at the Content Professor, both on Instagram and also on Facebook.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Milton, to come and find time. I know you're very busy and you're always all over the place. And it's a pleasure for me to talk to you as always. And all those advice that you always give me and boost me and check on me, I really appreciate that. So
Absolutely,
before I
baby.
let you go, do you have anything else you want to tell to my audience or you want to say to people?
Really just to you. Number one, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for standing in the gap and opening up the opportunity for us to be able to share our expertise here in the US to your family, back in Africa, along with those that are here in the United States. And so I want to take my hat off to you and give you a round of applause for standing in the gaps for all of us. Because again, there's not a lot of this. There's not a lot of people that are willing to stand up and create platforms, because you don't have to do this, right? You don't have to do this. You already run a successful business and you're always growing and hustling and grinding and doing your thing. So you being able to open up this platform, is definitely kudos to you. Shout out to the engineer behind the scenes that's doing the behind the scenes live streaming, engineering and mixing and that type of thing. And to everybody who's tuning into the show, it's a pleasure to meet you. You done know the Content Professor say so, and I look forward to having you guys in my classes. And as I travel around the world, take you on the journey with me. Yeah, you done know. Yeah.
I'm so happy to have you again. I will still ask you, do you have any question for me before you go?
No questions at this moment. I have more personal questions, but we can talk about that offline.
Bella is doing fine. If you want to ask about her, she's good.
Yeah. Is she still just hyper and enjoying herself?
Yes, she does.
Yes. Good.
Okay, so Milton, again, I'm so happy to have you today. And again, make sure you follow Toride. He's the engineer behind all those stuff. And
Okay.
we always want to say thank you to him because even though we do all the talking, people think that we are the one doing all the things, but he's the one making sure that everything goes well. And
Yeah.
also, I want to thank everyone for watching. Everybody will like, share. And if you know anyone want to do photographer or want to learn how to create content, make sure you follow the content professor. If you forget his name, just make sure you type content professor and he's going to come up. If you want to learn about how to plan your content in 1 hour, just make sure you sign up for the class. We're going to leave every single stuff right there. And I will talk to you guys later. It was my pleasure to host you, and I can't wait to see you again.